Well, we definitely have some hockey to talk about. Welcome to From Center Ice, the podcast. My name is Courtney, and the Blackhawks season has officially kicked off. Today is Friday the 15th, so 2 days ago, on Wednesday, the Blackhawks played their first game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They take them on again tonight at 6 p.m. Central, so we're about 2.5 hours away from puck drop. I figure, why not hop on the microphone and preview this game coming up? You know by now that the Hawks lost 5-1 on Wednesday to Tampa. It certainly wasn't an ideal outcome for the game. You want to see them come out of the gates a little better than that to start the season, but we all knew that this team was not going to be good, and they're playing the reigning Stanley Cup Champions, so it could have been a lot worse. Malcolm Subban was in net, and he was completely blameless on at least 4 of the 5 goals. I wouldn't even put that second goal on him. Yes, it did get lost in his legs, and he ended up kicking it in himself, but it was just a weird play that he didn't have much help, so I wouldn't hang it on him. But I guess if you were going to say he wants one back, that would be the one. The other 4 were just great goals from Tampa, which is to be expected since they're the best team in the league and have been for a few seasons now. So my message to Blackhawks fans is just take a deep breath. Things are going to be okay. This season is not going to be good record-wise, but there are things to look forward to. There's exciting players that are on the roster now and exciting guys coming up. So things aren't all doom and gloom, even though they might seem like they are after a 5-1 loss to open up the season. Let's talk about some of the positives that came from that first game before we jump into previewing game number 2. First off is Malcolm Subban. Yes, he did let in those 5 goals, but like I just said, you can't really hang that on him, and he did look a bit shaky there in the first period, but once the second period came around and the third period, he really settled in, and he looked good and had a Save of the Year candidate already in the first game. So I don't know if he gets the net again tonight, or if they go ahead and give it to Colin Delia. I could see it going either way, and I would respect the decision either way. I just wouldn't say that Subban was a negative from that first game. Nikita Zadorov was also impressive. If you recall, we got him in the trade for Brandon Sigh during the offseason from Colorado. A lot of people were skeptical about what he would come in and add to this Blackhawks team, but I thought he was our best defender out there last night, and he really impressed me and caught my attention when he broke up a passing attempt on a Tampa Bay 2-on-1 to kill their play, and then he just sent the puck back down the other way. He made it look pretty effortless, even though, of course, that takes some skill and whatnot, but he was there, he made it seem easy. If he can play with this consistency going forward, I think that'll be a huge positive for the Hawks. Other than that pass attempt that he stopped, he was tying up sticks, which you don't see many of our defenders doing all that often. So it was good to see that, and I can't wait to see one of his signature hits that he's known for laying on people. That will definitely be fun, and that's probably what is going to endear him to the majority of Blackhawks fans once it finally happens. Another guy on the back end that I want to talk about here in this positive section is Ian Mitchell. He made his NHL debut coming out of college. He's been super hyped. Fans have wanted to see him in the lineup for a few years now. He's finally here, and in a 5-1 loss, he didn't stand out, and that's a good thing. As a defender, you don't want to be the one making the mistakes. He looked solid, his passing was good, his skating was good. I can't wait to see what he looks like tonight and going forward for the rest of the season. It's nice to actually have some good prospects in our system again. Now it's just about developing them, getting them the ice time, and making sure that they actually hit their ceiling. Moving up to the forwards, the two guys that I listed under my positive section here are Andrew Shaw and Lucas Wallmark. Of course, Shaw coming back from that major concussion that he suffered. He was out for a calendar year, maybe a little more. I can't remember when he played his last game last season, but he was out for a long time, and he went through a lot. But he came back, came to training camp, played in this first game, and he looked like he didn't really miss a beat. He was out there skating, he was hard on the puck, he didn't get any points, but not many people did on this night, scoring 1 goal. I'm sure he will get better as the season goes along, but it was just really encouraging to see Shaw come back and still look like an effective player out there. Now we just have to hope he can go throughout the rest of the season without getting another injury, because who knows what that would do to his career if that were to unfortunately happen. But we're hoping for the best here, of course. And Lucas Wallmark is a guy that the Blackhawks picked up in free agency. I've heard good things about him from other teams, but I've never really watched him closely myself. I was excited to have him, and he came out in game number 1 and had 2 great chances. But Vasilevsky was there because stopping pucks is just what he does, and he does that very well. So I hope to see Wallmark continue to shoot at the net. It seems like he has a really good shot, so hopefully those start going in. If I were to lay out all of the bad from game number 1, we would be here for a long time. So I'm not going to do that, but I will say the forwards up front need to be harder on the forecheck. They need to get the puck into the zone, actually get some quality shots toward the net, and look like they give a shit. They came out and just looked like wet noodles after the first Tampa goal was scored. The Blackhawks actually looked like the better team for the first few minutes of this game, believe it or not. But once that first goal went in, it took all of the life out of them, especially our first line of DeBrincat, Strome, and Kane. We definitely need to see more from them because that was not a good showing at all. And on defense, only those 2 guys that I mentioned in the positives were any good. The rest of them were bad to awful. And if we want to have any sort of chance of playing for pride this season, because we're not playing to make the playoffs, that's not going to happen. But if we want to play for pride and at least show that we're not terrible, those guys on the back end really need to step up. It's rumored that maybe Seabrook will be coming back sometime soon. He tweaked his back before training camp, so he didn't participate there. Who knows? He had those 2 surgeries last season. He's also missed a calendar year. That'll be interesting. I think if he does come back, we see Adam Boqvist being sent down to Rockford once their season kicks up in February. And I don't necessarily think that would be the worst thing ever. I think Boqvist could really benefit from some more seasoning in the AHL and working on his game without having to go against the reigning Stanley Cup champions on a regular basis. And it will be a somewhat regular basis this season since we have to play them so many times because Tampa is in our division. I still don't understand it. It is what it is. So moving on to game number 2. Like I said, they are taking on Tampa Bay again. They have a chance to redeem themselves, show they are not as bad as that team that we saw on Wednesday. On the other hand, Tampa could come out and be even better, and that is kind of terrifying. Jeremy Colleton spoke this morning. He said if there's going to be any lineup changes, they won't be announced until tonight, so we'll just have to wait and see on that. I could see a few guys being swapped in and out. Otherwise, our roster is probably going to look pretty much the same. The biggest change could be in net, but like I said, I could also see Subban getting the net again. We just don't know. They like to keep things secretive around the NHL. I'm not really sure why. It's just what they do. It's pretty annoying, but whatever. All we can do is wait until we get the announcement and then sit and watch the game and hope for the best. Hopefully they can cut back on the penalties. They took way too many in that first game, and having an inexperienced goaltender in net and a new defensive core, that is not a good time. And especially facing a power play like the one that Tampa has. They fire on all cylinders. Every guy on the ice can score an incredible goal. It's just not wise to take penalties against that team. So they really need to stay out of the box tonight if they want a chance. And they also have to improve on their power play. They got a few chances on Wednesday, and it looked a little better. They were getting some shots on net. They were entering the zone without using the drop pass, which just looked so wonderful to me personally, because I hate the drop pass entry on the power play. I don't think it works at all. Sometimes it results in a goal, but I would rather just get rid of it altogether. So I was happy to see that. Now they just have to build on that instead of falling back into their old habits. They were moving their feet. It just looked like a completely different power play from the one we have been used to for the past decade or so, just with players coming in and out of the lineup as the salary cap has made our team change drastically over the last 10 years. So that's mostly what I am looking at going into Game 2 is special teams, because it factored into the majority of what went wrong on Wednesday. I have two players that I am going to be watching in particular in this Game 2 against Tampa. I've mentioned them both already, but those two are Patrick Kane and Ian Mitchell. Kane needs to have a bounce-back game. We all know that he loves hockey more than most people on this planet. He works hard at his game every offseason. He always wants to get better, but that first game was just plain bad. He looked disinterested for the most of it. He did have that semi-breakaway chance. He just couldn't get enough of a gap between him and the defender to get a good shot, and of course Vasilevsky stopped the shot that he did get on net. But other than that, he just didn't look like he wanted to be there at all. Was that due to his entire line sucking? Does he need to be better just himself? A combination of the two? That's probably what it is. Either way, we need to see a better game from Patrick Kane, and we need better games from him throughout the whole season. We're missing two of our other top players in Taves and Doc. So missing two important guys like that, you really have to rely on the other stars on your team or for guys to come out and surprise you. And there were no real surprises on Wednesday, so we need Kane to step up. Of course, it has only been one game. I don't want to be too hard on them already. That would be ridiculous. But going forward, we need to see more from him than we did on Wednesday. And the second guy that I will be looking at is Ian Mitchell. He had that defensively sound game on Wednesday. Does he come back out today in game number 2 and show something even better? Does he have a few defensive lapses? It's bound to happen over the course of a season. It happens to even the best players in the league. But especially for a rookie, just coming out of the college game, transitioning into the pro level and going right into the NHL, things are going to happen. We just have to know that we need to move on from that and not judge him too harshly for it. So I'm very interested to see what kind of game he has tonight. I think it will be another solid game from him, or we can only hope that it will be. So that is your quick preview for game number 2. I am so glad to have hockey back on the TV. I've been watching it all night the past 2 nights, and I will be doing so again tonight. The schedule tonight is a little weird. There's 5 games on. 4 of them start at the same time. The later one starts 2 hours later. I don't know who came up with that schedule, but for a Friday night, that's a bit weird when people can't even be leaving their houses anyway. But whatever, it's just good to have hockey back, and I hope you all are enjoying having it back as well. And I hope you enjoy hanging out with me as the season goes along here. I've been posting videos before each game to our YouTube channel where I pose 3 questions to the Blackhawks about what they will do in the next game. and then I answer the previous questions from the last game. So that's a lot of fun to do, and check those out if you are so inclined. Otherwise, you can head over to FromCenterIce.com, check out all the written pieces and previews and recaps and all sorts of good stuff. We love having you along. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find all of those things in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hockey is back. Let's hope that we get a better showing from the Blackhawks tonight, or else it might be a little more negative heading into game number 3. Thanks so much again, and I will catch you all next time. Bye! Thank you all for watching. Please hit that subscribe button to catch more From Center Ice content. If you could, hit the like button on this video, maybe share it with a friend or two. And while you're here, check out the podcast playlist and catch up on some old episodes. We will catch y'all next time. Bye!